The red light.
Good evening and welcome to the Municipality of Monroeville Citizens Night and agenda setting meeting for December 6, 2018. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All of council is in attendance other than Councilman Arosinko, who is at a Allegheny League of Municipalities event this evening. We're going to start with our Citizens Night. This is a portion where citizens can speak about any agenda item, actually any municipal item rather. Now would be your time if anyone has signed the sheet to speak this evening. We will also be having some public hearings on a few items, so you will also have an opportunity at that point if it's for those items. Seeing none, we're going to close that portion of the meeting and we're going to move over to our agenda setting meeting. We have an executive session announcement. Council conducted an executive session for personnel and litigation reasons prior to tonight's Citizens Night, beginning at 6:30 p.m. until 7 p.m. Council legislative action, if any, shall be taken at the December 11th council meeting. Council, moving over to the minutes you have in front of you, we have the budget hearing of November 1st, 2018, our budget hearing of November 8th, 2018, our Citizens Night meeting of November 8th, 2018, council work session of November 8th, 2018, and our regular council meeting of November 13th, 2018. Are there any corrections or additions to those minutes? Council.
Yes, Mayor, I have a correction to in the regular meeting in November 13th, under when I reported about our Moody's report, us being upgraded on our bond rating. And I have already talked to Sharon about this, but for the record, the first line there, the last word, for, should be or, O-R. And also in the second sentence, it states that I was talking to the finance director about economic development. Wording to the effect it should be changed to Josie Rock, our finance director, and me, and I were talking to Moody's about it wasn't that I was just talking to the finance director. And also, instead of actually spelling out the small a, or excuse me, the large A and small A3, we were upgraded to AA2. I can tell Sharon how to put that in there. It'll read a lot better. And also the last sentence, it says he suggested the municipality's debt service, not debt service, it's a bond rating, would be downgraded if we ever went out for a bond due to Moody's report. If you go out for a bond, most likely, if your debt increases, and we're at about 9.3% of our general fund, our debt service, we probably would be back down to AA3 for a bond rating. And at the end of that, you should put until the debt service is paid down. So those would be the changes in that Moody's report paragraph.
Is that all, Mr. Little?
That's all.
Okay, so council, that is our November 13th, 2018 regular council meeting, page 5. So Mr. Little, if you could get those corrections over to Sharon, that'd be great. Council, moving over to your reports of the tax collections. Any questions or comments on those collection reports? Seeing none, we're going to move over to our list of bills and budget transfers. Mrs. Gatos, we'll start with you if you have any questions this evening about the list of bills.
Nothing, Mayor. Thank you.
Mr. Poach?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Mr. Harvey?
Just two quick comments I wanted to advise council if they saw them or any resident. In the list of bills, there were two places where you saw maybe a $14,000 to $15,000, and I didn't write down the page number, for radar and some other control devices at the Monroeville Junior High, Gateway Middle School intersection, where the new get-go is going, and as it turns out, that was improvements to the intersection, which get-go has already paid us for. The second thing was there was a line item that said MS4 Stormwater and Pollution Control, and that was for the current engineering firm. So I just wanted to make that clear. Other than that, I have nothing.
Okay. Mr. Johns?
Nothing, sir.
Mr. Duncan?
I have nothing.
Mr. Wilson?
No, sir.
And payroll report, any questions? Council? Seeing none. Moving over to our consent agenda of new business, we have 18-04-sub, that is Stum Consolidation, 244-246 Willow Drive. Mr. Little, please.
Okay, applicant is requesting preliminary and final subdivision approval of two properties known as tax parcels 640-K-135 and 640-K-142. Applicant proposes to consolidate the two properties into one lot. The property is located at 244 and 246 Willow Drive in the R2 one-family residential zoning district. Planning Commission recommends approval.
Council, any questions?
Nope.
Mr. Hugus, any comments?
I will leave it up to Mr. Wilden.
I was getting there. Mr. Wilden?
No comments. It's a simple two-lot consolidation. If there were any issues, they've been resolved.
Very good. And is it, for the record, is it Stum or Stumi? Do we know?
We were pronouncing it Stoom.
Stick with that, I guess. Thank you. Moving over to our item number 2, Mr. Little.
Okay, this is UPMC East, the hospital. They're doing a little bit of an expansion. The applicant is requesting site plan approval to construct 29,751 square feet emergency department addition and relocate the existing ambulance drop-off area. The property is located at 2775 Moss Side Boulevard in the R5 multifamily residential zoning district. Planning Commission recommends approval.
Very good. Sir, if you could just sign in for us, please,
Sure.
and then state your name for the record.
My name is John Swearingen. I am a landscape architect with the firm of Farringer McCarty Gray. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Welcome.
Thank you. I just wanted to go over for a few minutes, no dog and pony show, just a quick little overview of what the hospital is proposing. It's actually a fairly simple addition to the hospital. In short, there's been a significant need in the recent past to expand the emergency department, otherwise known as the ED. I apologize if I use ED often. It's an emergency department. Excuse me. Obviously, when you're going to put an addition on a hospital and specific to a use that's currently in place at the hospital, you want to make sure that it's adjacent to it. So the only place this addition could ever go would be where we're showing it, which is between the existing building and the helistop itself. There's currently a paved area that's being utilized by the ambulances, is where the ambulance bays are located. So obviously now we got to find a location for the ambulance bays. We've pushed those over along Fox Plan Road. I don't know, move that around a little bit. So I apologize for the lack of quality of the rendering here, but the darkness is actually new asphalt, and it's basically the limit of disturbance in the paved areas. The green is actually is new grass, new lawn area. We have a new rain garden that we're proposing off to the west of the existing helistop. Here are the ambulance bays. It's actually a very tight area of disturbance. We're actually under an acre overall in disturbance, and that includes all the paved areas. So it's going to be, and of course the addition, it's going to be a very tight construction area, and it'll go pretty quickly.
Are the ambulances going to have to use Fox Plan Road now?
Yes, they will actually enter the bays by actually traveling, right now they currently turn off of Fox Plan Road and then they turn immediately into the ambulance bay area where we're putting this rain garden. They're going to continue on down Fox Plan Road across from the loading dock area and storage area for Lowe's, and they'll actually pull off of Fox Plan and then back into place.
So ambulances that arrive via Mosside Boulevard will have to come up and basically circle the hospital.
Yes, they will actually turn around, go around the hospital, past the ED, the public entrance to the ED, and past the helistop, and then make a left onto Fox Plan. Yes.
Is this a two-story addition?
It is a two-story addition with a full basement.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And it's not going to disturb the helipad at all based on putting it, you're going to expand the ED.
Yeah. Or ER, it works.
Yeah, okay. So you're going to expand that into the open space and up, and that's not going to affect the heliport because that's where the ambulances had originally
Correct.
been bringing in, okay.
Yeah. So we're
That's what I thought I
going,
understood from reading.
we're within a few feet of the safety zone, and we're in the process of, we've actually opened discussions with PennDOT, which oversees the helistop for the FAA. Everyone has so far approved it. We're still working on logistics of construction that close to a helistop.
Yeah.
That's something that's still in discussion with PennDOT. The goal is to keep that helistop open as long as we can.
Yeah.
May have to shut it down temporarily, but that's all being worked out with the
What's
the
this
FAA.
ultimately going to do for the ER?
I'm sorry?
Enable you to handle a lot more patients, or?
Yeah, actually, it's a 10,000, little over 10,000 square foot addition. So it's not quite doubling the ER, but it's a significant addition to the ER. So patients will be able, actually, right now, currently, the way the hospital functions, it gets a very high rating for turnover, getting people in and out, getting them admitted or elsewhere. This should not impact the number of trips on the helistop itself. The intent is, or the thought is that is not going to increase any number of trips.
No, but I guess what I was asking was, it's going to enable the ER to handle more patients.
Exactly, yes.
What's the current square footage of the ED?
That information I do not currently have, I'm sorry.
Can you show me where the fire hydrant is that's in question as far as making sure that that is accessible?
Yes, I don't know if you can see it on the drawing here. It's actually way down near the service area, entrance area. So if you can see my finger right here,
Yes.
it's way down here. So it's actually outside the area that's been designated as the construction zone. PJ Dick is the contractor, and
Okay.
they've been made aware of this concern, and we will make sure
That
we
it's
have
accessible
we have
at all
representatives
times?
from both the hospital and UPMC that are aware of that
Well,
situation.
PJ Dick's a big company, so they know what they're doing.
I think
Yes.
so. Yeah,
So, okay.
they're great to work with.
Yeah, okay.
I do have, and I'm sorry, they're 11 by 17s. The fancy boards we actually were able to show to Planning Commission are now at the president of the hospital's office, so we were not able to commandeer those once again. But I do have 11 by 17s, and I'd be more than happy to hand out a few of those if you'd like to see them.
If you hand them to me, then we'll pass them.
I sure can.
Or he could put it right in the middle, and we can see it on. Right in the middle. Yeah, put it right in the middle, and then he can,
Yeah,
If
once-
it's okay, I'll
Zoom
remove
in on
this.
There's a piece of tape there that indicates where
The center?
yeah.
Okay, you want them both right here? Can you see?
How's that, Joe? Looks good.
Perfect. Okay, so this view here in the bottom is actually from Fox Plan Road. You can see the canopy that's proposed over the ambulance bays themselves. So again, vehicles will travel southbound on Fox Plan Road, pull off of Fox Plan, and then back right in at an angle into their bay. As you can see, I actually challenge people all the time. I think the architects honestly did a wonderful job of making this addition look like it's been there forever. I mean, it blends in. The facade is going to be the same material. It's going to look as though, and that the canopy itself helps to actually blend the current to the future. So I think it works really well. And you can actually see part of a helicopter here in this scene in the helistop on the left-hand side. The upper one here, actually, you can see it's a different view, of course. It's a view into the existing ED entrance for the public. That is all, I want to also state that that's going to remain in the same location. So the public that's used to, hopefully they're not too used to being at the ED, but those that enter the hospital, that ED location is going to remain the same. We're just going to extend it because of the addition. We have to pull the canopy out a little bit and move the drop-off pickup area a little bit, but it's going to be the same location, the same style canopy, just going to be extended.
Any more
to it.
parking spaces necessary?
No. The short of it, there's a surplus from what code requires, and the use is actually, we exceed what's necessary.
Okay.
So this addition falls within that range. We provide that information to the municipality, so.
Okay.
You mentioned that there will be a second floor above the emergency department,
Correct.
and what will be there?
Can you answer that? Yes. And he'll need to sign in, correct?
Yes.
If you just state your name for the record, please.
Jim Schmidt. The UPM, can you guys hear me all right?
Yes.
The second floor that we're currently building will be built as a shell space. The second floor currently in the existing building is where our operating suite is, and it'll allow us to expand in the future.
So it'd be more for storage and so forth?
No, right now it'll be treated as shell space. We will not be storing anything
Oh, okay.
in that area.
Okay.
It'll be protected as required by code, and it'll sit there until we're able to.
So you need it, until you need it?
Yes, sir,
Yeah,
correct.
Good, okay, thank
Okay,
you.
very good.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Council, any other questions?
John, UPMC had to get a variance for the canopy for the setbacks,
Yes.
is that correct?
Yes, we did obtain that. I have the date here in my notes from the ZHB on October 3rd.
Okay.
And the reason for that was we were actually, as we're extending toward Fox Plan Road, the existing building is right on that 48-foot. There was a reason why they had to go 48 instead of 40, but that's because of the height of the hospital. But we had to obviously protrude and encroach upon that front yard setback along Fox Plan. So we were able to obtain the approval from ZHB for that encroachment.
And there will be a curb of some sort between that canopy and Fox Plan, because the ambulances will have to drive down and back in. So someone wouldn't be able to drive straight across into where the bays are. You'd actually there'd be a barrier of sorts.
There's actually, we're not proposing any barrier, we're actually opening up Fox Plan from the existing northern curb cut. Currently, right now, there's a curb cut in this location,
Okay?
okay? We're actually opening that up all the way down toward the limit of our construction. This is all going to be open. We have 6 bays. We want the ambulances to be able to pull it down as far as I need to so they can easily back into
Okay.
into their spot.
So they're going to be backing off Fox Plan Road into?
No, we anticipate they're going to actually pull in and back out, or
They'll-
back into place, and then
What
they're
I'm
going to
saying is there's enough room there for them to do that?
Yes, yes.
And you're actually doubling the emergency bays, is that correct? I believe you have 3 or 4 there, so you're going to 6.
We currently have 6,
Oh,
and
you're
we're
growing it?
replacing it with 6.
Okay.
Yes.
And no pillars.
There are columns that are just set off the building, so the canopy itself is not attached to the building for various reasons. But yeah, we do have columns that are actually not even into the bays, so the bay area is going to be completely open.
Terrific.
Yeah,
Saves a lot of bumpers.
it does, and when they're obviously very skilled drivers, but we want to remove all obstacles.
Council, any other questions?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Very good. We'll consider this on Tuesday.
Thank you, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Little, item number 3, please.
Yeah, this is a Fox Plan Apartments, AR Building Company. Applicant is requesting preliminary and final subdivision approval of 5 properties known as tax parcels 856P331, 856P339, 857A72, 857A78, 857A82. Applicant proposes to consolidate the 5 properties into one lot. The property is located at the end of Fox Plan Road in the R5 multifamily residential zoning district. Planning Commission recommends approval.
Good evening. I see you're signing in. If you just please state your name for the record.
Hello, my name is Jason Kambitzis with AR Building. How you doing tonight? I don't want to bore you with who we are because we've gone through this a couple times before in the last project we did and the previous presentations we've done. So we're here tonight for the public hearing portion, the final approval of our new project on Fox Plan Road. Tonight I have my architect Jeff Campbell, attorney Jack Finnegan, and Ray Gusty, engineer. Jeff will start going through the project, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Is the hearing?
The hearing is actually on the conditional use of.
Yeah, everyone, thank you, Jason.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is, so this item is number 3, which we're just talking about the final subdivision of the 5 properties. You mentioned it, and the next item, council,
Sure.
is for the site plan approval, 4-story building. And then the 5th item, council, is for the conditional use. The conditional use, under our zoning ordinance, we'll have to do that will be the public hearing portion.
Oh,
So
okay.
what we'll do is actually, we'll just do it all in one shot. Council, if everyone's okay with that?
Yes,
We'll
sir.
do all 3 items together. We'll swear people in, and then You guys can have the floor, and we'll just get through all the items.
Okay.
So what we'll do is if anyone is going to be speaking about this item, your representation, anyone from the audience that wants to ask questions or speak about this item, for or against, now would be your time to stand up because we'll be swearing everyone in. This being a public hearing item, so will you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Very good. Very good. So now, Jason, if you want to get
Okay.
started, or whatever order you guys want to.
I could do it over again. No, I'm just kidding.
No, we're
All
good. We already got that part correct.
I'll hand it over to
We're
Jeff.
good.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. My name is Jeff Campbell. I'm an architect with Rothschild Joiner Collaborative. We're an architecture and urban design firm in Pittsburgh. I was going to talk briefly about the architecture of the building itself and our general site plan approval, and then, our general site plan approach. And then Ray Gusty was going to come up and talk more specifics about the site plan itself. So if I could get the overhead. So I've done a very brief presentation. I'll go through it pretty quickly. We can always come back if there's questions. Just to give you a sense of what we're looking at. As Jason mentioned, AR Building Company, we have presented in front of you before. Right now, AR is roughly 9,000 units nationwide. We've been an architect that's been working with them for at least the last 20 years. Personally, I've been working with them for 14 years, so we have a good sense of what each other likes, and we have a nice sense of the architecture that they've really found successful with tenants in general. Our firm information, we've also been working in Oakmont. We've did the Somerset apartments and have done some master planning at the Almano site. So for the site itself, you'll see in the upper left-hand corner, this is on Monroeville Boulevard, just down the street on Fox Plan Road from the hospital that we just spoke about. So we had our typical process. We will go around and try to understand the general context. The zoning, right now it is zoned R5. It's adjacent to the Walnut Crossings or former Ivanhoe apartments, directly adjacent to the site. And then the site itself, it is at the end of Fox Plan Road. So at this point, the road would terminate at the site. It also L's around a little bit as well. As we were trying to understand where to best site the building, we found that it was best to kind of situate it away from the road, away from some of the existing residences that are along Fox Plan Road. That also helps take advantage of some of the views that you see down over Monroeville Boulevard as well. And here, just a quick graph of what that site topography looks like. So it is relatively flat at the top, and then it does start to drop pretty sharply as you get closer to Monroeville Boulevard. So there's when you come in, you're at about 1145 or so, and then Monroeville Boulevard is about 1,100 feet. And then with zoning, we do meet all the building zoning requirements, including right now, I think it could be zoned up to a 10-story building. What we're proposing is a 4-story building on the site. And then this is an aerial view that we pulled together using Ray's site plan and our own building model. So at this point, we've actually modeled the building. This is the meant to be the basis of our construction documentation. And you can get a sense of how everything's planned. Right now, there's a cul-de-sac as you enter in the lower left-hand corner. So I get a mouse here I'll point this out. So this corner right here, you can see there's a cul-de-sac. This is about 12 feet higher than the entry point at the middle here. And then right now we have our main entry right at this point with the parking kind of coming out in either direction. Again, this is an aerial from above with Monroeville Boulevard on the bottom and Fox Plan Road going up to the hospital, which would be up to the north on this viewpoint. And then I mentioned it's a 4-story building. It's a 4-story building from a building code and from a zoning code standpoint. There is a lower story, which is technically not a story under either of those codes, that does come down to kind of help mitigate that grade. So rather than do a 10 to 15 foot retaining wall, we're actually putting units down at that area. And then just a brief overview of how that building would be laid out. There will be a nice amenity space, a fitness area, a lounge and lobby that would be right at that entry point. We are talking about the potential of having the fitness off to the side as well. And then it's roughly a mix of 1 bedrooms to 2 bedrooms. We do have a few studios in there as well. And we also are showing, the last time we appeared, there was a lot of discussion about the elevators. We are showing 2 elevators in this building. So there's an elevator right at that knuckle as you come in, and then there's also another one a little bit further down. And then a typical floor, which stacks up above. And then a sense of those elevations, AR, because they do not only create the buildings, but they also maintain the buildings and keep the buildings for hopefully forever. They do like to make sure they have quality materials that are maintenance friendly. So they use a lot of brick, a lot of vinyl on the upper floors. A lot of the things that we do try to do a lot with the designs, or we really try to accent and get a lot of large windows, get a lot of light within the building as well. Every unit at this point, I believe it's every unit will have a porch as well, and there's usually pretty healthy porches. We find that tenants and residents really respond well to that ability to step outside. So this is the front elevation. You can see the entry there in the middle, one of the side elevations. And then this would be the elevation from Monroeville Boulevard. So here you can see where it slips into that extra floor down below. And another side view. So with that, I will hand it over to Ray.
Could I get you to show back up to one
course.
picture? There was some artwork of a topographical where you said there's Monroeville Boulevard, Fox Plan Road. It's kind of that one.
So this one or the
No,
topographic?
the one you were just on.
Okay, this
That one.
Yeah.
Where is Fox Plan Road on this?
So I'm sorry, I tend to do that. Fox Plan Road is right here. So the hospital in this particular situation would actually be down to the right. Monroeville Boulevard is about 50 feet below, over the side of the building.
So you will not, and i.e. the fire departments will not be able to circle that building.
They will not be able to drive around the building. That's correct.
So they won't have access to the backside, if you will.
They will have, from Monroeville Boulevard, there will be access. It's within 150 feet, which I know has been an important regulatory standpoint. So there is access in that regard, but there's not, you can't drive directly up to the building.
No truck access.
Yeah.
Correct.
I think it's worth noting that they're all sprinklered buildings as well, just so.
Yeah.
Put that in there.
I have one question.
Mr. Duncan.
I don't know, did you get your answer?
So,
Kind of. Wasn't what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, I don't mean to interrupt. Did we rectify the residents' issues on Fox Plan? I think there was some parking issues and,
yeah, I could maybe defer that to
Yeah,
to
possibly.
Jason, if
I'm
I could,
asking the
if
wrong
that's all right.
person.
I know you've had more discussions on it.
I know previously the residents are here.
oh, okay, the residents are here.
Yeah, we.
Right.
All right,
offered-
maybe I'm premature then.
Yeah, let's yeah, exactly. We'll
Sorry.
get those answered, but let's have, if you guys do your whole presentation first, and then we'll go through the questions.
Okay, we'll do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
So that's all right. So I'll defer to Ray here. He can talk about the site plan issues.
Yeah, that'd be
Is that
great.
appropriate? I'd be happy to come back up if there's more questions.
Yeah, then we'll come back with questions and once you guys present.
My name is Ray Gusty from Thuringer McCarty Gray. So if I could go through the 3 applications briefly, and then, like you said, we can answer any questions after.
Yeah, we want to make sure you have your whole presentation.
So
laid out.
the first application is for the consolidation plan. So we're basically, I know Mr. Little read 5 lots. It was my mistake. There's actually 6 lots that we're consolidating into one parcel. So these 6 lots would be all consolidated into one parcel. In addition, we'd be providing some additional right-of-way to the municipality for the cul-de-sac along Fox Plan Road. So that's, we also have to relocate, there's an existing sanitary line that the Monroeville Municipal Authority owns. We'd have to relocate that line through the site and grant them an easement for that as well.
And that's in process?
Yes.
Okay.
And Ray, that cul-de-sac you showed, is that the current state, that's the current location of it?
That's new.
But where the end of the road is that where the new cul-de-sac's going?
It's going to go with the entrance of the apartments.
Okay.
It'll be a little more clear on the site plan. I'm going to go out of order here a little bit and show the conditional use. So the conditional use is for the earthwork, since we're excavating over 10,000 yards. We're over 21,000 yards of excavation for cut and topsoil. So the red area is obviously the property line. The white is the cut areas. The gray shaded areas are the fill. It's our intent to balance the cuts and fills on site so we're not hauling anything away or hauling anything in. And the third application is for the site plan. Again, as Jeff had mentioned, let me orient everyone to the drawing here. So Monroeville Boulevard is along the bottom of the sheet. Fox Plan Road runs along the right-hand side or the east side. Walnut Crossing or former Ivanhoe Apartments, their property is on the west and north side of the property here. As Jeff had mentioned, we're proposing a 112-unit apartment building. It's a mix of studios, 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom apartments. We meet the ordinance for parking. It's 1.5 spaces per unit. We meet that requirement. All utilities are available to the site. Our stormwater detention is an underground vault located in this corner of the property near the swimming pool, and it's piped down through the site down to Monroeville Boulevard. And working with municipal staff, we're adding a cul-de-sac here at the entrance to the apartments. That meets the municipal
Ray, I have a
requirements.
question. On that cul-de-sac, with the ingress and egress, is there going to be a marking kind of like an island, so it demarks where the ingress and, I mean, if people are coming in there, I can see where if it's a cul-de-sac, then, and if there's no marking for coming in and out, I'm not talking about a lot, but just something that somebody can see, because if somebody's pulling out, I can see them maybe drifting over a little bit too far to the left. And is there anything going to be in there on that?
We haven't shown anything yet. We can certainly discuss that.
I mean,
in more
I think
detail.
staff should take a look at that, and you should take a look at, I mean, maybe it isn't an issue, I don't know, but just looking at that, that came to my mind.
We can certainly look at that. I think that was it in a nutshell. If anyone, we'll try and answer any
On your
questions.
photograph, may I have a look at it again, please? Your rendering?
That one time,
Joe.
it's just
Joe.
on?
Joe,
Joe, the rendering,
Overhead.
please.
Thank
Okay.
you.
On the right-hand side, above the boulevard, how far does Fox Plan Road come down?
It extends all the way down to Monroeville.
Comes the whole way down there?
Yeah.
Would that be helpful for the fire department, Sean?
Is it, so that I understand that, because it's quite a hill, you mean that'll be,
Yeah,
Fox
I
Plan
don't- I
Road
don't-
will be through to
It's hard
Monroeville
to tell
Boulevard
on that
again?
topographical.
No,
It stops.
it stops.
I get
Right, it
concerned in
stops.
multi-family dwellings that you can't get all the way around them.
Right.
I'm not saying we don't have something like that in Monroeville now, but it's a concern.
But it is a fully sprinkled building, Ron. And with fully sprinkled buildings, you have some liberties with access at 360 degrees.
I was more concerned about with evacuation.
Well, they can still exit by foot. I mean, you're just not going to have vehicle access around the entire building.
Thank you.
This may have been an architect question I neglected to ask earlier. Elevator size? Does it meet the, we talked about?
Yes, we talked about that last time, about minimum elevator size.
Right.
Okay.
Has to meet labor and industry standards.
Thank you.
And I'm going to go back to the sewer line. Have you gotten your approvals back from the DEP?
We have submitted the EP for the code number, and we've completed component 3
Okay.
of the planning module and submitted that to the municipal authority. It's in their hands right now.
Okay. Just so when I go to the next meeting down there.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure where everything's at so that I'm clear for them down there, so.
Just a point of interest, the other residents that are on Fox Plan, they don't have access, the fire departments wouldn't have access to the rear of their buildings either, would they, Ron?
Of which one?
On Fox Plan, the other residents that live across the street from where the apartments are going to be built, they don't have
The
access.
residential homes,
The
no.
resi- the
That's what I'm
resi-
saying, but you still can't get behind those.
Yeah, but that's, those aren't as big a concern.
I understand. I
Just
understand.
getting behind a multi-family dwelling like that, which brings me to my other point too, is you said it's fully sprinkler, Paul, right?
Correct.
Are the standpipe connections remoted, or are they on the building?
They are remoted.
Hallelujah.
That's great. That's good.
Well, isn't the apartments next door? You can't get behind them either. The Walnut.
Crossing, there we go.
You mean Ivanhoe, the
Can you
old
get
Ivanhoe?
behind them?
yeah.
Yeah.
So this
Okay.
apartment
Okay.
building,
Yes.
this
you
apartment
can
building
behind it.
here is
Yeah.
basically the same situation.
Right. Right, okay.
Council, any other questions at this time?
That's all, thank you.
Okay, so once again, council, so our conditional use for the item number 5, if we're looking at item number 5, is the applicant's requesting conditional use approval pursuant to section 4018 of the zoning ordinance to permit a cut and fill operation totaling 21,159 cubic yards of earth. And once again, we know where this property is located at the end of Fox Plan Road. As Ray mentioned, the cut and fill is primarily going to stay on the same property as far as the movement goes. But this is the portion that is a public hearing item. So if there's anyone that wanted to speak about the cut and fill operation for the public hearing, now would be your time. I've seen on the public hearing item. Now, you did swear in. There were some items that you had questions about. If you'd like to come up and ask those questions.
Hi, Jennifer Hoff. I live at 110 Fox Plan across the street.
Did you sign in?
Yeah, I already did.
Thank you.
I brought some pictures too. But, there was a couple things that concerned me. Some things have changed since the spring, and I have a question. When was the preliminary? Maybe I missed it. Is this the final? When was the preliminary construction? Or no? Is this it? I'm confused as to what this is.
Well, we had, and you were here the last time we first
You mean for the
discussed-
zoning?
Yeah, we talked about the
I
rezoning.
didn't realize that was a preliminary
Well,
construction.
it's not. That was actually specifically for the rezoning.
Okay.
Now, we answered a lot of questions at that time, went over a lot of the topic. We were kind of ahead of schedule by talking about things. A few months ago, when the applicant first came here, they were just talking about the rezoning.
Mm-hmm.
Really, that's probably all we should have discussed, but
Yeah.
we wanted to get all the information out there, and the applicant was willing to do so as well. So now we are at the site plan approval tonight. We'll talk about it.
And this is it after this?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
we're not voting this evening. We'll vote on Tuesday, and there will be another opportunity to ask questions prior to Tuesday's vote on Tuesday. But
Okay, but
yes,
then that's final after.
now's your
Okay,
chance.
okay.
Now's
Just
your
wanna make
chance
sure.
to speak.
And then, okay, so there
And
was.
there was a planning commission meeting as well.
Okay,
recently.
well, I'm just wondering because I know in the spring, I didn't know if that was considered preliminary, but at that time they brought before the planning commission and before you guys that it was going to be 90 to 92 units, and now it's 117. And the reason I bring that up is because the cultists, when everyone came down in the spring to the house, they said that this turnaround was going to be below our driveway, and now it's actually cutting basically our driveway off. Right here, I don't know if you can see.
Is your property,
And I have a picture here. Here is the bottom. I don't know if you can see. I don't know if you can see this. Right here is the bottom of our road. And according to their picture, there's a tree right here. According to the picture, there's going to be a little access right here, and the cul-de-sac is going to be cutting
Well, move your picture.
off our,
Well,
for
where-
example, here, our house.
one-
can't see.
1 second,
Okay,
they'll
back
zoom
off a
out in a
minute,
second. Joe, if you could zoom out, please. That's perfect, Joe. Thank you.
Our parking is here. It's short, but it's kind of wide. It could fit maybe 3 cars if you park really close. And it comes like here, and here. And they cut the cul-de-sac short so that probably just the first car here is gonna be able to pull out, and so if you park 3 cars, they're not gonna be able to back out anymore. They're gonna be going into the divot, into the road, into the grass.
So that,
It's
is
like
that your, is that your driveway we're looking at the
The
bottom of the
bottom, yeah.
cul-de-sac? And that is your structure?
This is for a
That's-
guest. I mean, my husband, we have to,
Refer to the drawing.
this one here? Yeah, right here. This is supposed to be our driveway. Now, this is that one tree, and you guys don't remember, there was a tree here. Right here is the tree. And they have it kind of our driveway, just a slim access here, where our driveway is actually comes all the way here to the trees. This is actually, our driveway goes from here to here. But they have it, so.
Has that been, in
Don't draw on it.
I'm
Ray,
drawing on it.
Ray, has that been, has that been surveyed at that area? Do we know where the actual,
That's from the aerial mapping, so it's accurate.
So what they're doing is cutting our driveway away from the road. How can you even get out of our, I mean, and I know, like, this was a huge thing for me. I don't know if you guys remember in the spring that we had be able to have some guest park in our down here. And they said, oh yeah, you know, it'll be okay, but in reality what they did is instead of 92 units, now they're making 117, 25 to 27 more. And they told me that because of these new units, now they need more parking spots. This takes away 10 additional if they were to bring this
Did
down
that do
here.
anything to you?
Huh?
Did adding those units do anything to you?
Oh, yeah.
What-
They had to move this up. They say they can't move the cul-de-sac down past the driveway anymore because they would lose 10 parking spots, which they need now because they made the complex bigger, which really bothers me because
but your driveway, as this image shows, your
it will
driveway
be cut
is,
off from the road.
actually, your driveway is off of the cul-de-sac. Is that correct?
It starts here, but it comes all the way, extends to here, our driveway. I don't know if you can see. It extends to here, like this.
Let me ask something. We cannot cut off your driveway, is that correct?
That's
We're
what
not
they're
cutting-
doing.
We're not cutting it off. I mean,
what they're
we're
doing.
still connecting the driveway, their driveway
You
up
will
to the
not be able to
cul-de-sac.
back, they're cutting it off like here. So, and this is short,
I don't understand what you're saying, they're cutting it off.
They're making the cul-de-sac right here end
Okay, so that would be an opening for a vehicle. It's not gonna be a
It's
partition.
gonna be like this. This would be grass here. This would be grass.
But is that your driveway where it's going to be grass?
The road that you pull out, you need to back out to get out of this spot. You have to back out. It's
But you're backing out onto a road.
it's not gonna be a road. They're ending the road right here.
Wait a minute. We're not landlocking you. I mean,
can't
we've
do
got to give you ingress and
Well,
egress. to your-
according to this, that's what's happening.
But you questioned at the planning commission, and they told you that they would move the
Well,
they would
everyone
bring the
came
cul-de-sac
down.
as
You
far
weren't
as-
there, but everyone.
No, I have the minutes right
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
which is
no,
why
when
I'm
they
at.
came to my house, I'm saying they all came down to my house
In the spring.
Yes.
I remember, I know.
Okay.
Okay.
And at that meeting, they said that they would put this turnaround down past my
As
driveway.
far down as they possibly could
They said past the driveway.
at that time.
Yeah.
But then based on, once you start doing the drawings, the elevations and the approvals, something may
because
have
they-
changed, which is what I'm asking you guys. Did that happen?
Yes.
Did something change?
They added more
Okay.
units, 25 to 27 more units since then.
Are you taking up any of their driveway or any of their property?
No.
So at the planning commission meeting, you were there just last month,
Yeah,
right? And you
yeah.
questioned them. In
Actually,
regard to
I did not realize till I went home and was really studying this that it was cutting my bottom
Okay,
driveway
because
off.
I'm trying to figure out, because it does state here that you asked them about this, the driveway.
Well, I mentioned,
And-
I didn't realize it was cutting my driveway off, but I did ask them to move it down further for other reasons. But I didn't realize at that time until I went home and was looking at that it was cutting my driveway off.
Okay, because because you said that they said they could look at shifting it a little.
Yeah.
But they weren't positive if they could
Yeah,
do.
and I wanted to know for sure if they can, because this is cutting my driveway off.
What is that turnaround area that they're building doing to you?
Well,
Could you place that picture
I
back?
keep
to
hearing
the
you're cutting her driveway off. Are you cutting her driveway off?
And-
I'm really confused.
No.
And move it over a little bit.
Yeah, to
Is
the-
this
I know
just
that.
land
That's
that
why
you
she keeps
park
it
on
back.
now? It's not paved, it's
well,
not.
there's a bunch of little rocks down there, which
You
know,
and you
people
own this
park-
property?
Yeah,
And
my
but it's
dad.
not a driveway?
Well, that's where people park, I guess. We don't because my husband can't walk up that
Yeah,
hill. I park
right.
on the street. But visitors, I mean, this is where people used to park, I guess, who lived at the house before us.
But is that the driveway for your home, or is there another driveway?
No, there's no driveway. We park on the street.
Okay.
And this would be where all our guests who come to the house.
But that
What
area,
property is that?
Down here?
Yeah.
That's ours. That's our lower, yeah, that's our
but that
property.
area is still going to be
Considered
left.
yard.
Like, it will still be the dimensions of your driveway will still be there.
Well, they're cutting, yes.
They're
the
taking-
dimensions-
but they're taking
but
part of
they're
the
taking
Fox
part
Plant
of the
Road.
road away. And so now you can't back out onto a road, you back out into grass.
You'd back up into the cul-de-sac.
No.
No, she's saying no.
I mean, I guess you could, the problem is, if there's 2 other cars parked here,
Well, how often
How
do you
can
have
they
3
park-
cars parked there, like visitors of 3 cars? That they can't, that one can't back out, then the next one, then the next one. I mean, everyone's not gonna back out at the same time.
well, the problem is, these people would have to move.
Yeah.
Like, this person would have to move out, and then this person, you'd have to have
Okay.
2 people move their car for you to get the 3rd car out. It doesn't make sense to me why they're stopping the road before the
Because
end
of
of our
how
driveway.
steep it is, I'm guessing, is that the
Well,
reason?
We can't.
Jason
we
told me it's
extended it
because they
down.
need more parking spots, because they made the permit bigger.
Who's Jason?
Can't bet this right there.
I have-
Glasses.
Okay.
We extended,
Okay.
we extended the cul-de-sac down as far as we could. The cul-de-sac,
Right
all
now,
all the widening for the cul-de-sac is on our property. We're not touching anything on their
But
property.
does that restrict their driveway at all?
Yes.
We connected,
they don't
I
have
mean, we can
driveways
look
on.
at, regrading that. I mean, the driveway connects, on the drawing, the driveway connects to the cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
We could look at widening their driveway out a little bit more.
Right, and
Okay.
I think in the
About
past,
that?
we discussed something about doing something with their parking area.
Up
perhaps
closer to the
paving or
house we
something.
talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's not this.
AR Building agreed to
Right, you have
to
some
pave
type of
a
agreement.
parking space, and
Yeah.
and at the plan commission, we agreed to plant an evergreen hedge.
You've
along the
already
front.
got that agreement. Yeah,
So you're
you
good, you're good with that, ma'am?
With what?
They're giving you a driveway?
Yeah, they said they were gonna give us a drive.
I mean,
just
so that-
just for us, like a small little, for
So
me
you're
and my
cool
husband.
with that?
yeah.
And if they would work with the grading to possibly give you a better ingress and
We
egress.
could
there.
look at
Yeah.
regrading that.
I mean, it's a matter of grading.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it's only a few feet. I mean.
How many feet is it, Ray?
Are we talking 10
I'm
extra
not
feet?
sure, probably about 10 feet or so,
If
10 or 12
if you
feet.
zoom in on these photos, I'll show you the before and after picture of the rendering of the.
Joe, can you zoom in on the overhead?
Mayor, while they're zooming in, can
Sir,
I?
you need to also, did he sign in?
What's it?
Yeah.
He has to sign
State
in
your name
and
for the
state his
record,
name.
sir.
Mayor,
John Robinson.
John, if you just hold up 1 second there. Mr. Hugus.
while he's signing in, the whole cul-de-sac is not a requirement of the development. The cul-de-sac was a request of the municipality, because in today's world, Fox Plan Road just terminates.
Yeah.
There's no way to turn around.
Right.
So the developer had agreed at the municipality's request to put a cul-de-sac in. So they technically don't need it for the development. If you want to terminate the cul-de-sac and you just have an access to Fox Plan Road and leave the Fox Plan Road the way it is in today's world, I don't think that's the best condition because people still can't turn around.
Right.
If they would continue in the current state, they would go to the
Correct.
bottom where
They
it's
would go to
dead
the
end.
bottom
Just
and
a-
there's nowhere to.
Or they would have to turn around in
They'll be
their,
turning
in their
around in your
gravel,
area.
in their driveway.
And that's what
Correct.
probably
Yeah.
happens now.
Right.
Exactly.
So now,
Yeah.
now you're gonna have, you still have the problem
Yeah,
with snow
so
removal
they're trying to
vehicles,
eliminate that.
refuse trucks, they can't get, once they get
Yes,
to the bottom
they're
of the road.
trying to
they can't turn
eliminate
around.
that.
Or
And
they-
that-
So
The
so the
cul-de-sac
cul-de-sac
What
is,
is-
Folks, 1 second, please.
the cul-de-sac is to municipal standards. It's a full-size cul-de-sac, as you see in any new subdivision. It's a large cul-de-sac,
What's that
which
cul-de-sac?
allows vehicles, so, it accommodates those vehicles.
Wouldn't it also accommodate parking?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I mean, you could park around a cul-de-sac. I have one in my neighborhood.
I
and
live
you
on a
still get
cul-de-sac.
around.
I park around mine all the time.
Accommodate the garbage and the
Yes,
snow plows?
yes.
Well, that's very.
And that's the whole reason we were asked the developer to do it at his cost. He's gonna do it.
Right, right.
But it's not a requirement for his development.
right.
It sounds
They
like an
agreed to-
upgrade to the street.
To help improve.
And it would
Sounds like an
actually give
upgrade.
you more parking, if you think about it. Not during a snow event, but, any
I
time of
just
the
want to be
day.
able to pull our cars out of the bottom driveway, that's all.
Well, they discussed the cul-de-sac before, and they said we were discussing putting it further down the
I
road.
think they're trying, but they may not be able to do it exactly how you want it done.
We can't, we moved it as far as down as we can because sliding it down any more than where it is, we lose parking.
What becomes of the road, the rest of the road.
Wait a minute, let's, compared to what it is now, right now,
It's an upgrade.
what are they doing? What are they doing to impair the way it is now?
Can you focus in on these? I'll show you the difference between these two renderings.
Joe, if you could place the camera up.
If you can
Zoom
zoom
in
it
a
down.
What are the
little
two
bit.
images?
Zoom-
John, what are the two images you're showing?
I have the prior rendering back in the spring, and I have the current
Well, the,
rendering here, which you have right here, actually.
well, just so, we are only discussing and questioning the current rendering. That is what went through the planning
Right.
approval, planning commission, and then that is what's being presented today.
Okay.
I don't understand.
So the
Well-
plan may have changed slightly from whenever it was first brought up initially, but this is, what they're presenting today is what council will be considering.
Right,
and
no, I
also what-
understand,
yeah.
I understand. I just wanted to show what the difference is because we had a meeting based on what the rendering was prior. Okay, and now the new rendering is much, with the cul-de-sac, it is much broader in front of the house. I mean, the entry and entering and exiting is right in front of the house. And Tim had mentioned about not having any barrier. I had brought that up too, because cars aren't going to pull out at this end. They're going to pull right out in the middle of that cul-de-sac. If you see where I'm saying. There's no barrier there to define entering and exiting in that cul-de-sac.
Well, are you worried about that, or are you worried about
I'm worried
this
about a lot of
vehicle
things.
turning
This
around?
is just one of them. This is just one of the items, because the cars are all gonna be pulling out with the lights right on the house as they exit continually.
We agreed to plant an evergreen hedge in front to
Correct.
block that.
Yeah.
Right, so that takes care of that problem of the lights coming into the house.
Would it be an
You just
issue?
What
stated-
size hedge you talking, what hedge is gonna block out a car light? What do you
Well,
mean?
I got car lights coming in my window, and I live on a cul-de-sac. I mean, no one's
But
putting.
Yeah,
they
but
all,
this is
they
an
all
apartment.
face your house coming in and
Yeah.
out?
Excuse me, would it be an issue if, when you have guests there, if your parking is overrun and you park on the cul-de-sac? Would that be an issue for you? I'm sure we could get permission for you to do that.
No, that would be fine. My concern is just, I would prefer to park in the driveway that we were gonna, it's full of chips now, concrete chips. I was planning on this spring, hopefully, once I pay off my windows and my new gas line I just had to put in. I was hoping to get that paved
Oh,
before this
I
happens.
believe they agreed to pay it.
No, just a small one.
No,
up
No,
No,
she's just
that's on the bottom.
she's just talking about a
That's the
small
house.
pull-off here for
Okay, I'm
Jake,
putting
for a
words in
car for
your mouth.
Jake,
Yeah, they didn't agree to
right
that.
there.
Okay.
But I would just like to be able to park in our own private, so we're not on the street. You know, guests aren't on the street, and to be able to back out of the driveway.
Mr.
Yeah, I've
Egas, are
designed it
you
for
allowed to
time.
park in your yard?
In a lawn yard, no.
I read though that if
You
it
have
has,
chips there.
if it has chips, you're allowed, and it has chips. Yeah, it's had chips for a long time. If you look at pictures, like Google pictures, you'll see. Yeah, there's chips down there. This actually was a driveway for the people before us. That's where they always park. We don't park there because my husband,
Right,
there's no
yeah.
point.
40 years it's been
Yeah.
It's where my,
Okay, but you can park in the cul-de-sac then? And that, you can use the cul-de-sac as parking when you have guests, is what they're saying?
I would prefer to
that-
park in a driveway, not on the road.
But
you know?
to,
Well, is
But
the
you say you
cul-de-sac
park
part
on the
of
road now.
I mean,
Right in
part
front
of
of the house.
Fox
Yeah.
plant?
Yeah.
Is the cul-de-sac part of Fox plant? You wouldn't be parking in the middle of the road, would you?
And you currently park on the road, correct?
I do,
right
yeah,
in front of the
yeah, but there's nobody there right now. I mean, there'll be a couple hundred more people. Nobody comes now. I mean, maybe
Yeah, but they
once
won't
every
be
hour now.
using the cul-de-sac to get in and out of that complex.
That's where.
That's all. I mean,
so council, so where we're at now, we understand the residents' concerns. As per Mr. Hugus, the cul-de-sac is not a requirement for the site plan for this item. Mr. Ratcher, is this something, you can't make a cul-de-sac that's not required a condition of the property?
Correct.
So the applicant, they're willing to look at, whenever they do actually lay it out, to perhaps regrade it to maybe open up that access a little bit, but there certainly is access, we've all established, from that cul-de-sac to your driveway. There definitely is access. We're not cutting their access off, like,
The cars will be able to back out of the driveway into the road?
well, they could probably, I mean, could they back out on your own property and then back onto the cul-de-sac?
We could look at that, and maybe we'll try and widen this out a little bit more so they can see how that works.
Well, are you encroaching on Fox Plan with cul-de-sac?
Fox Plan is, it's a 33-foot wide right-of-way.
Right.
And so we're extending beyond Fox Plan Road. So
You're
we have
extending
to
beyond the
dedicate
33
additional,
feet.
we have to dedicate
Okay,
additional
but-
right-of-way on
Now,
our
will they
side.
back out of that parking area where the chips are? Will there be an obstacle there that they couldn't back into the cul-de-sac and then
It
go?
will turn into grass.
Well, wait, I'm asking now. Let me ask. Let him answer.
They can, we can look at trying to widen this out a little bit more so they have some room to turn
now-
around.
Yeah, you can ask for much more than that. I mean, if you have an area to pull in and out,
I mean, if you were pulling out, you'd pull out like this.
But you can if there's 3 cars.
Yeah,
You
That's
should be
like-
able to,
that-
you should be able to
that's
back up.
That's like
your-
if you had a driveway and stopping the road halfway point to your driveway. So you could get out from half of your driveway, but the other half you couldn't get out. That's like stopping a road in the middle.
My driveway's the same way. I can only park 1 or 2 cars in my driveway, and we have to switch cars
you
all the
do.
time.
you have to make the guess that you want to stay parked first. The ones you want out of there, you
Is this-
can't park it.
Jen,
Others
is
are
this
staying overnight,
basically
they park in
like
first.
3 parking spaces off of this?
Yeah, there's 3 here, but this is only,
AJ,
this isn't gonna let you back up, basically. You're gonna be backing into whatever that turns into. I don't know, grass.
So basically, you have 3 parking spaces along here. So, we can look at widening that out.
Yeah, see here. But as of down, this is gonna be cut, you know what I mean, like cut like.
Well, let me ask council, any other questions at this point, because we certainly established
Sorry.
no problem.
There's
You're-
one other thing I want to mention about the cul-de-sac.
Okay, well, one thing I want to,
Okay, go
let me
ahead.
finish first. So one thing I want to say is the council has no other questions regarding the project, the site plan, the cut and fill, the consolidation of the lots.
I do not.
Just a point
So-
of clarification
Yeah.
too. So
And on the cul-de-sac,
on that issue, yeah, that's what I'm hearing. So you're going to come back with another estimation of what you just mentioned of cutting out and possibly widening it.
Yes.
And then
Adjustment.
you guys are going to have that agreement and work that out before we work on that.
That'd be great.
Okay?
Yeah.
So it may not be exactly the space. I think I'm visually, because I know the area, understand what you're saying. It's not going to be exactly the same, okay? Mm-hmm. But you guys are going to work that out, right?
Yes.
Now, do
That's my
you want the developer to show you a plan with a cul-de-sac and without a cul-de-sac?
No, sir. No, I'll be happy if they reach an agreement.
I
They
think
definitely need
I
a
think they can
cul-de-sac.
reach an
There
agreement.
definitely
They
has
reach
to be a
whatever that
cul-de-sac
agreement is by the
because,
time they
like,
come back.
FedEx
I don't
backs-
think that's
There has to be a
necessary.
cul-de-sac because the ambulance backs down the road, FedEx backs.
Yes, ma'am. I've done it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why you need the
yes, ma'am,
cul-de-sac.
I've done it. That's why I understand.
and you said you had one more item about the
Well,
cul-de-sac?
just my one concern, I don't know. To me, it seems like a safety, it makes me a little nervous. Let me do this so I don't accidentally draw anything. Now, I guess there'll be a stop sign here, right? Will there be a stop sign for the cars coming down on the apartment? Is this gonna be a stop sign?
We probably will add one there, yes.
Because if we're backing, out of the driveway, it has to be some kind of stop
Oh,
sign.
yeah, they have to be a stop sign.
Okay, so if there's a stop sign here, my only concern is when you're coming down this road, like to turn around, like for instance, every time I come, I'm gonna have to come down here and turn around, and all the cars, maybe like once every 45 minutes, a car comes down, they turn around. My only concern is when you're coming down here to turn around, you're kind of going into the apartment. It looks like you're going to the apartment a little bit. It just makes me nervous because in this day and age, a lot of people don't use a turn signal, and this car might think that you're making a right and start to go, and I don't know. That's a safety concern for me. It just seems like a safety thing. I can just imagine it happening. This car assuming
Well, that
there's
can happen anywhere. People just don't.
You are
get
not
signals
going to
today.
correct people.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And I think
I
the
get
policy-
angry when they don't
Well, I
use
feel,
it.
I guess if the cul-de-sac was lower, that probably wouldn't happen, but. Okay.
Stop sign isn't even enforceable.
So, Ray, if you could speak to staff and get this, look into some options for Tuesday.
Sure.
But once again, council, the cul-de-sac is not a requirement for the plan. They could just actually come off of Fox Plan Road and make a right-hand turn into the project. I don't think that's the best thing for public safety and access, but, so they are building a cul-de-sac for us on their property, on the applicant's property. But if you could talk to staff and maybe see if we could
Sure.
give a little more distance there for the driveway.
Mayor, the advantage to the cul-de-sac is the garbage trucks.
Absolutely.
And the
Snow
snow
plows.
plows can turn around there. Where do the snow plows go now?
They back
They
up.
back into that house down there.
They back up.
See? So it's
FedEx
probably
backs
safer
up.
to,
Yeah, oh,
for
yeah.
them to do that.
I definitely think definitely has to be a cul-de-sac, yeah.
Okay,
definitely.
and then your ambulance, like you said, had to back down or
Yep.
back out.
FedEx,
life
every
easier.
day FedEx backs
It'll be a
down the road.
positive.
Yeah, yeah.
And they'll work it out with you, I'm sure.
Okay, I just want
feel
to go back out of the
confident.
driveway, that's all.
Yeah, they've been good to you before. You guys been able to negotiate a little bit, so, yeah. You got that great smile, so that works, that works a lot.
And then I guess the snow will come down here, the snow stockpile will be here, down at here.
They'll take it the whole way down to the end, push it down on the boulevard.
Thanks, Tom.
No,
Let's push it down.
I don't think so.
Now, is this gonna be an elevation here?
No, this actually drops down.
No.
I mean, you're not building this up higher. Okay, I was just worrying about water. Will there be a sewer, like right here at the
There's an
moment?
inlet, there's an
Oh,
inlet
good, for the
here.
water to go. That's only my concern, because a lot of water pours down that hill, and if, the road stops.
They'll be required to collect all their water
Oh, good.
on site.
That'll be a big improvement for you,
Yeah, yeah.
And that's part of our stormwater.
our
management.
stormwater program.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the other issue I had, sorry, moving off the cul-de-sac, was the swimming pool being right here.
You have a swimming pool?
Them.
Oh.
Their swimming pool. I know in that drawing it looks really far away. But this is taken from my living room. And this is from my front door. And I was just wondering, where in relation to the house now is the swimming pool going to be?
You can see underneath, the house is pretty close to where the existing house is close to where the pool would be.
Okay. And how many feet is the pool going to be from the property line?
You need a scale, Ray?
Uh,
It's like 40 feet
from the property line is 53 feet.
Okay.
And this will be screened, there'll be a fence around it, and there'll be landscaping around it, so you're not gonna see it really.
53 feet satisfies the proper setback for a swimming pool on a property?
There's not necessarily the issue with the setback, but it will be fenced in. All swimming pools have to be fenced in.
I was more concerned about the noise in the summer.
You could have old people living there. They'll be sleeping.
It's
They'll be
not,
dozing off in the middle of the day.
it's not a very big pool, so I don't think there'll be a lot of people using it. It's relatively small.
Yeah, and this is an item that kind of gets pretty far away from our cut and fill public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were doing the construction hearing.
Well, there isn't a public hearing for that.
Oh, there's no public
There's
hearing.
public comment, and we're affording you the opportunity to speak about these things,
okay,
and that's
sorry.
fine. But
Yeah.
we're
I thought
getting-
that's what this was.
The only thing for a public hearing is the actual cut and fill operation, but council made the decision to allow these things to all be
Okay.
talked about, but we were starting to get pretty far outside.
Okay, and what about the parking lot? Will there be about?
What's your question?
Well, the lights coming onto the property from the parking lot?
All the lighting will be, that is under,
According to car lights?
We submitted a lighting photometrics plan according to the ordinance, and they call it foot candles. I mean, you're welcome to view that drawing, and by the time it gets to the property line, it's zero.
Okay, it'll be zero from the.
Zero from the
Okay,
property line.
well, that's good. I just want to make sure there'll be a low level and high level screen. And then the trees, are they going to be evergreens?
Which trees?
The trees, like to block all the lights and privacy and things.
Well, these are shade trees, and there's some evergreens up in here. But these are all, in the parking lot, these are all shade trees.
I'm just wondering because there's not going to be about privacy. I guess nobody cares.
Are we done?
You and my dad.
Council, any other questions?
No.
We will consider this on Tuesday.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I could just make one comment, Jack Finnegan. I don't think I signed in, but I will. Excuse me. I believe, and nobody really said it, that this plan complies with every ordinance and application you have here. And if it does not, I'd like to hear about it now, so that this developer has been accommodating, will continue to do so. That's the way they operate. I just don't want that to be a factor in whether or not we comply. I think we are in compliance with everything unless I'm mistaken.
I don't think anybody's arguing that.
I believe you're
That's what I'm
correct.
sure.
Yes,
Okay.
Mr. Wielden, Mr. Hugus, Mr. Finnegan's statement's correct.
Correct. There have been several review letters from our department and our consulting engineers. I would say 90% of the comments have been addressed. There's a few outstanding stormwater comments, but from a zoning perspective, it meets ordinance.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Finnegan.
Thank you.
And yes, once again, the applicant did set up time. They came in for our public meetings, but they also set up time with the residents on their own and had other meetings here, so we appreciate your time.
Yes,
Try to satisfy
thank you.
our residents. Thank you.
I gotta
Council, we're going to move over to item number 6, Worldwide
I don't know
Auto
where
Group.
that came from.
Mr. Little, please.
Okay, applicant requests conditional use approval pursuant to section 401 of the Monroeville zoning ordinance number 1443 as amended to permit vehicle sales at the existing building. The property is located at 2137 Mosside Boulevard in the C2 Business Commercial Zoning District. This is a public hearing, and Planning Commission has recommended approval.
Once again, this too is a public hearing item, as Mr. Little stated. If there's anyone that will be speaking about this item, or testifying about this item, would you please stand and raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. Sir, if you could just state your name for the record.
My name is Robert McCollum, engineer with Red Swing Group. Here to present on behalf of the owner tonight. We're here for conditional use for an auto, a used car dealership. The structure is existing. It's being renovated currently. The paving and everything, the site is essentially existing. The use is allowed by right, by conditional use. So that's what we're in for tonight. We found some existing pavement that's there that we're going to be parking the cars on. The entrance off of Mosside Boulevard is a shared entrance across the bridge. There was some questions during Planning Commission as to whether or not there were going to be any car carriers and the weight limit on the bridge. There are no car carriers that will be bringing vehicles to this site. They'll all just be driven in themselves.
Very good. Council, any questions for Robert?
This is the old Sharma chiropractic building, correct?
It is adjacent to that.
Adjacent to that.
Yes.
That's
It
what
shares the property.
That's what a beer distributor was.
Dwayne's Propane.
Yeah.
Oh,
So this building has been vacant for some time?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
And the access is that bridge, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Wilden, any issues from your perspective?
No issues. It's similar to what we did for A&L right next door to us. It was an existing commercial use. They want to use it for vehicle sales, so they're going through the conditional use application.
Will you be doing any repairs on the property?
There is, we're exploring the future development to kind of extend across the property. We would come in for land development at that point in time.
Yeah, that's in the future.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
right,
future.
right. And you mostly do detailing and to get the automobile ready for sale?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Any other questions, council?
No, sir.
Very good. We'll consider this on Tuesday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, I apologize, Robert.
Gentlemen.
I was jumping the gun, trying to get you out of here early. Sir, if you state your name, sign in and state your name for the record.
Yeah. The only point I want to actually adjust is the address. It's 2139. It's not 2137.
Very good, thank you so much.
We
Yeah, we'll
corrected
change
that
it in the record.
last month, and yeah, please.
Yeah, we'll fix it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else from the audience that would like to speak about this item? So we're going to close the public hearing for Worldwide Auto Group. And I don't know, did I close the hearing for the Fox Plan Road?
You didn't, but it's a minor error.
We'll close it now. We'll close both public hearings. Very good.
As you wish.
Moving over to item number 7, that's Sky Zone subdivision. Mr. Little, please.
The applicant is requesting preliminary and final subdivision approval of property known as tax parcel 1106-N279. Applicant proposes to subdivide the property into 2 lots. The property is located at 160 Levin Way in the C2 Business Commercial District. Planning Commission has recommended approval.
Sir, if you could state your name for the...
I've already signed in.
And if you could state your name.
George Haberman, I'm the engineer of record, representing the client.
Very good, George.
This is the Sky Zone property where they have the trampolines on the inside of the building. Right next to it is Levin Furniture. This is Levin Way, here's Levin Furniture, they have their access here, and this is the Sky Zone property parcel. The client is selling the property, so we're going through the subdivision process so that he can acquire it. This large parcel up here is basically just a hillside down to Levin Way, and they're in negotiations and discussing with Grace Church about donating it to them. As part of this project, what they did is they created this 24-foot easement so it would have access off of Levin Way to the church property, should they want to do something on this property in the future.
So if you could outline your existing parking lot there for
Yeah,
the
this
Sky Zone?
is all the existing parking lot for Sky Zone right in this area here. There's underground storage facilities here for stormwater that convey things to a bay saver unit for sedimentation control, and then it drains down to an existing storm pond in this area down here.
What type of business, sir?
It's right now. It is you go inside and people jump on trampolines.
Okay, yeah, I'm familiar.
Tom, you got to try it out.
Yeah, my grandkids have been there, yeah.
Yeah, well,
They love it.
the planning commission chairman and I discussed many years ago that we weren't going to go.
I
in there.
fracture easily, so I don't.
So can you tell me exactly what it is you're doing?
We're just subdividing the right now. It's just one large piece of property.
Okay, so where Sky Zone is, you want to separate that to this other parcel
Yes.
on this side of the
Yeah, this will be the property right here that'll be sold with the Sky Zone building
Oh,
on
they're
it.
selling the
They're
Sky Zone
selling-
property?
Yes.
Oh.
That's why we're going through the subdivision
So,
process.
So the other piece is just going to stay empty as it sits
Yes,
right there?
and possibly negotiate. It's a hillside that you can't use.
Okay.
Cliff.
Yeah,
It's a
okay.
very steep hill. And if they donate it to the church, and the church in the future wants access off of Levin Way, let's say Levin Way is a public street, by doing some grading and filling in this area, they can extend this road right straight through their property.
Okay.
Right now, we just agreed to grant them, there's a pile of material and stuff there, but it gives them access over to their property off of Levin Way.
Okay.
So it's closing.
I have a question. So, and George, you may not know the
No,
answer to this.
they're
This may be a
selling.
local question. Mr. Hugus.
Yes, sir.
There was an old pathway or roadway of some sort that went from Illini Drive by Hawkeye Park. Mr. Duncan, you might know this.
Timber
I
Tr-
installed it.
Timber Trail.
Timber Trail Drive.
Where is that anywhere near where they're
Yes.
talking?
Yep. it's-
George can show you.
Oh, George, okay,
Yeah,
I
this
apologize.
is Timber Trail right here.
Show that again, George, okay.
It's just a paper street.
Okay,
it's-
so actually, we're beyond that property.
We
Timber
butt up
Trail-
against Timber Trail. Timber
That's
Trail's
what I was-
not on
That's what I
our
was looking
property. Yeah, it extends up all the way through. It's a paper street.
And does that paper street, does that go, that doesn't make it to 22, does it?
It connects Old William Penn to Illini.
Actually, it comes.
It'll go all the way down to William Penn?
It goes from Illini to
Old William Penn, which is right, this is Brookside
old
Drive, is
trailer.
Old William Penn.
Is that where the trailer park is?
Yes.
Yeah. and-
Trailer Park's down here.
Yeah, okay,
And that's where the paper street would.
okay. Now I get it.
What's the name of it again?
Timber Trail Lane.
Drive.
Remember it well.
you to get on that.
We'll just call it Timber Trail. We'll
Timber
agree
Trail.
on that.
Yeah, well,
Like
sorry.
Timber Trail. That fits.
Council, any other questions for George this evening? No question.
Nope.
Thank you very much.
All right,
We'll
thank you.
consider this on Tuesday.
Thank you, George.
It's always interesting
Thank you.
watching what goes before me. There's just a comment, there's just was a simple solution to that cul-de-sac. If at the end of the cul-de-sac, they would just sort of come over and go like this and create a paved area off the side of the cul-de-sac to her driveway.
But then you're on private property, which.
Next time,
creates-
George, raise your hand and come on up and help us out.
No, still within the 33-foot right-of-way. Oh, you mean their property line stops at the edge of their driveway? I couldn't see that on the plan.
I didn't see it.
So,
Very good.
okay, thank you.
Moving over to our motions, council. Mr. Little.
Okay, one motion, a motion to authorize to advertise an ordinance establishing a Board of Appeals for the Pollution Control and Flood Reduction Program, which shall hear and decide appeals made by property owners from the decision of the municipal manager.
Questions, council? Next.
So we have ordinances.
Ordinance.
That's the only one. Okay, so
So the,
move to ordinance, Mr. Ratcher, please.
oh, sorry about jumping the gun there. First 5 ordinances are related to the upcoming budget and related matters. The first is an ordinance of the Municipality of Monroeville fixing the real estate millage for land, buildings, and structures for 2019.
Council, any questions? And this is not a change in the millage rate. This is not a tax increase, just so the public is aware.
Hallelujah.
Mr. Ratcher.
The next ordinance is an ordinance of the Municipality of Monroeville to provide for the adoption of a budget containing estimates of proposed revenues and expenditures for the calendar year beginning January 1, 2019.
Questions, council?
Comments,
Mr. Little?
Yeah, comments. Council has a sheet that Josie put together on all the different revisions and changes that council spoke and discussed at the 2 budget hearings that we had. All the changes are on there with respect to the revenue, and on the revenue end, which would be the usage of the fund balance, which would increase. So the total revenue revisions would be approximately $200,000, and also the expenditures. You come down to the expenditure section, and you can see because we're adding some new positions and also the different discussions council had on those, and this is all, keep in mind, this is also benefits, it also pension contributions, Social Security, FICA, it all includes that. So that comes to, about $292,000. So you're basically increasing everything about $200,000, and that is reflected in the new budget book that you received this evening, which has all of the changes in it. And one item that I did want to, Josie and I were talking, one item that I did want to, if you would open up your budget books on page 10, I believe it is, on the fund balance analysis. And at the end of the budget, I think it's page 10.
It is.
Yeah, I just wanted to, 2 line items on here that, and I've talked about this for about 3 years. We have a very good fund balance. And because we have, one of the reasons why we've had a good fund balance is because in recent years, not 2018, but 17, 16, one of the reasons is we budgeted for certain positions but didn't fill them. Well, we have filled them, and we will fill them moving on. And you can see we've used some of the fund balance for 2018 on an estimate. That estimate's pretty good there, and that's about $693,000. Now, if you come down to the line item proposed 2019 usage of fund balance, you see, now this is more of an estimate, a broad estimate, about 1.6 million, and that can change as we move along. We get more revenue in, or we don't expend more money, or vice versa on each of those. That could increase or decrease. But my point being with council is now we're coming into a phase where we've built up our fund balance over the last 2-3 years for different reasons. Now we're coming into a phase where we're maybe chipping away at it a little bit. And that's really the crux of what I wanted just to bring to council's attention as we move along in 2019, 2020, and the years moving ahead. But everything the council talked about is all in the budget Unless council has any other questions for Josie or I.
I have a question, Mr. Little. What is the state requirement for the fund balance? What is the percentage that we have to maintain?
Well, it's 7.5%, and that's our, under resolution, that we have that. But I take that back, let me qualify that. We did increase that to 15 to 20%, and the GFOA recommends that. And we're well above that. We're very well above that.
That's my point. I wanted
Yeah.
people to understand that, based on the 7.5% that of our budget, we're much higher than we're supposed to be, and not that we're using it as a plaything.
No.
We're going to be very conscious of how we
Yeah.
use those funds.
Mhm.
Thank you, Mr. Little. Thanks for doing that.
My only concern is that this council, going all the way back to when we got in office, after the previous council depleted a lot of those funds, has worked very hard to build that fund balance up, and I don't want to see us knock it down.
Right.
Any other comments, council? Mr. Little, anything else for that item?
No, nothing else on that item.
Okay. Mr. Ratcher, I believe we're on number 3.
We are. An ordinance of the Municipality of Monroeville continuing the deed transfer, mercantile tax, business privilege tax, and local services tax pursuant to the Local Tax Enabling Act of 1965 as amended.
Council? Comments? Item number 4, please.
An ordinance of the Municipality of Monroeville adjusting the salary system structure of 2019.
Council? No question. Mr. Ratcher?
An ordinance of the Municipality of Monroeville establishing the 2019 fee schedule.
Any comments, council?
Yeah, I have one comment about that. Mr. Hugus and I discussed about the conditional use and the also application development fee. Through the years, we've had, not a lot, but a few complaints here and there that a conditional use plus a application for development fee, they were both, Paul, about $1,000? $2,000 apiece. And I've had some comments that, why, a little bit onerous, those fees. So we cut the one back, $500, I believe it was, Paul.
Yes.
Yeah. And so just so council is aware of that, to make that, a little bit more palatable to the business community and the developers, so they don't feel like they're, and it'll still cover our costs, with respect to engineering.
But it maybe makes us more competitive with other regions.
Yes.
Gets us in that direction.
This is not a voting.
Thank you. Any other comments, Mr.
No.
Little?
No other comments.
Mr. Ratcher, item
One
number 6,
more
please.
ordinance, yes.
Thank you.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 848,
I don't really.
regulating parking on Fairview Drive.
Fairview Drive. Mr. Hugus, if you could give us the explanation on this, please?
Northern Pike, near the Gateway Grill. It is close to the dry cleaners. Small
Dry cleaners on.
residential road. There's a parking issue. We've been receiving a lot of complaints from the residents. And now the refuse trucks and snow removal vehicles can't maneuver around on Fairview. So we're going to post it as no parking so the police can enforce it.
And that's on both sides of the street?
Yes.
Council, any questions?
Is it restricted certain hours?
No, all the time.
All the time.
All the homes have driveways on that plan.
Yes.
Turnpike guards, hope.
That's Greg's.
Very good. That's it for our ordinances. We're going to move over to our reports from our municipal staff. Mr. Ratcher?
I have no report, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Little?
Yeah, I just have 2 items. The first one is about the main office phone. As I reported to council, we're going to have some shifting of positions in the administrative office. Pat Barley is retiring, Michelle Fenwick is retiring, and Derek Funyak, who is at the front desk, will be taking Pat Barley's position in early January. And we'll be we are advertising right now for somebody in the front desk position. But in addition to that, in talking with the ladies, mostly the ladies through the years, this is through the years, that work out at the front desk, and we've had a lot of people work out at the front desk, you know, in the last 4 or 5 years. I think it's going on 10 now. 1 every 6 months we have somebody different out there. But one thing to make it more efficient, and I'm not I like the fact that we're one of the few organizations, probably in Allegheny County, that you get a human being answering the phone. But yeah, but this is why I'm bringing this up to council. But one of the things that is time-consuming for the person at the front desk, and keep in mind, the person at the front desk comes under the finance office because they do data entry and things of that nature for the finance department. One of the things that is very time-consuming is routing calls. And you answer the phone, you route it to the building and planning or finance or even me, and that's time-consuming. Now, what I am suggesting, and if council is okay with this, is that have a voice activated, but have the verbiage that you hear a lot of times in other organizations. If at any time you wish to speak to an attendant, press 0. This way, if somebody comes in and they know who they want to talk to and what their extension number is, they can just put it right in without somebody picking up the phone in the front. But if they do want to talk to somebody, they can just hit 0.
You just contradicted yourself. You stated that it's nice to have somebody answer the phone. Well, if nobody's there, many a times I've called up here, and if I know my extension, I go directly to it.
Exactly.
So it's not making any sense. I mean, all of a sudden, we're going to go with a recording. When you have a person there, you say it's time-consuming, you take that number and you just hit a button and transfer it. I don't understand how it's time-consuming.
Well, I've talked to the different ladies about it, and they say that
You're talking to a man here about it, and what I'm saying is I don't understand how it's time-consuming.
What's council's
Show me
pleasure?
that. I just don't understand it.
What is council's pleasure?
Well, Tim, are you suggesting, whenever you say about if they were to call and then would they have options? Would it say for building
Correct.
engineering, press 1, for the manager's office, press 2?
Correct. But if it
Or press 0 to speak to the front desk attendant?
Correct.
So they would still get to a person.
But you're losing what you just said, that direct contact. I mean, you can get that anywhere. Call anywhere, and you'll get a recording. But if we're hiring a person for the front desk, let them do their job.
Can I make a comment since it is under my area?
Absolutely.
If all they did was sit and answer the phone, that would be very reasonable. But we have them do other things. They record receipts. They take care of no lien letters.
And they're at that front desk when they're doing that.
Correct. But
So it's a matter of picking up the phone and just hold on a second on my receipt and transferring. Hey, whatever you guys want to do.
yeah, it's just a comment. It's interruption to.
I didn't want to do this because obviously the front desk and the person.
Then maybe you shouldn't have anybody at the front desk, and that just solves the whole problem.
Well, you still want to have somebody be
No, you have to have
Right.
somebody there.
Right.
You have to have somebody there.
I just don't understand you, whatever.
So, well, Josie, so you're asking in the fact that they're doing some tasks for you right now, so we'll still have the option of somebody comes in, automatically knows who it is that they want. They just remember to dial the 1000 number. They get there, they'll be able to dial to it. If not, in the course of this, press 0. Someone will answer the phone, and they'll help them to find the correct person.
Correct.
So you're saying it'll add to the efficiency of what that person's doing.
I would think.
Okay.
But it would also allow the option to someone to listen to the prompt
At
and
any
say,
time.
I
Correct.
want to speak to somebody in the police department.
Right.
Absolutely.
I can press a certain number. I don't have to, actually, I don't need the 4-digit extension.
Just, I could press 1 for planning, 2 for
do.
manager, or
Manager,
whatever
3
it is.
Yeah,
Set it that
any
way.
phone call I make today to a business, I get that message, and if you want to make an appointment, press 1. If you want your prescription refilled, press this, and different things like that. If you want to talk to billing, blah, blah, blah. And, I'm used to it now. I think everybody's sort of used to it now. And it's for,
But we're still, but we're still
And I'm
adding the
fine
option.
with it, but my thing is, the manager just explained we're one of the few communities that actually has a human being that answers the damn phone. That's all I'm saying. And now we don't want that. We're gonna go to a
no, I
recording.
didn't
That's
say-
fine. Let's do it.
If you're gonna do it, I would ask that if you're gonna give the option to speak to someone, you say it in the beginning of the message. That's sitting there waiting till they give you 7 options, and then they say,
Right.
and if you would like to speak to
Right.
someone, press it. I sit when they do that, and I
do
push every
0,
single,
right?
I do that, and if it doesn't work, I do 9. I hit them all.
I do the
Till
same.
somebody gets to the phone. So if it's gonna be recorded, please at the very beginning say,
And this is something that we can do currently with our phone system, correct?
Yeah.
We're not adding equipment.
There's
we're
no
not-
cost, there's no-
And we could always,
No.
we can always do
Eliminate
a
it
trial
if it
run and
doesn't-
change it if it doesn't work.
I think it's a great idea. Let's just do it. Let's go.
Mr. Johns says so. Everybody else agree?
well, then it should be
I
so.
agree.
As long as talking to the operators first.
Very good. Mr. Little, you have your direction there, and once
Okay.
again, and same thing too, council, if you get complaints from the residents, we'll revisit this item.
Yeah, great, sure.
Mr. Little?
Yeah, and the
one
last
more
thing is Christmas and New Year's weeks, keep in mind refuse and recycling are a day late.
Very good.
Thank you.
Mr. Hugus, anything this evening?
No, sir.
Ms. Rock?
I do have something.
Oh,
If
right.
anybody
Yes.
brought their original budget books,
Did.
We did.
I can collect them, or
We
We
did.
did.
Tim.
I turned mine in a couple.
We was threatened,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, we would,
You gave it to,
We all followed.
yeah, we all followed
All right.
directions this
I-
time.
back. Should I keep it?
No, you got a new one, huh?
Okay,
I have a
okay,
new one,
so I'm good. Yeah, okay.
That's it.
Thank you.
And we're going to go through our reports of our council members. Mr. Wilson, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I'd like to wish everybody of the Jewish faith a happy Hanukkah. I guess we're in the 4th day right now. And Joe, could you bring up that photograph for me, please? Oh, this is a friend of ours, a retired police officer from Monroeville, Al Rizzo. Al just passed away recently, and he was a great friend to me, but he also worked with a lot of our retired police officers, and he just was a great guy, and my sympathy goes out to him and his family. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Mr. Johns?
Yeah, real quick, I'd just like to remind everybody that Santa's Kids this year, our event is December 17th. Starts at 4:30. It'll be at Paul Mary's on Old Frankstown Road. And once again, that's what we do for the children in the area. If you can show up, please stop and have a good time.
What time did he say? What time?
4:30 on,
No end time. right?
no end time.
4:30 till you can.
As long as people are donating money, Mr. Johns will stay open.
We'll stay open.
Anything else, Mr. Johns?
No, that's it, thank you.
Mr. Harvey?
I just wanted to announce that finally the Edgemead repair job is complete. Tuesday, we'll show you some pictures. Cut that short. I wanted to say the same thing to the condolences to the Rizzo family. Officer Rizzo was a officer when I started, was one of my training officers, and was just a very, very good person, and he'll be missed. The art design of the MS4 emblem, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Arasenko, and Mr. Poach, they await you. So please get up there and judge them as soon as you can.
Yes, we're working with Dr. Short and on his end, and we're dialing in a date. It'll be in December.
It has to be.
And everything else can wait till Tuesday.
Has to be.
We'll get it done.
Okay.
You have to go by
Let's wait
Skype,
till
we'll
last
do it.
second.
Mr. Poach?
If you don't, I'm going to turn you into Linda.
I'm gonna draw something.
I was just off for a second there. I'm back now. I too, with condolences to Al Rizzo. He was also a fireman. I knew him well as well for many, many years, and certainly be missed from that. Two, would like to pass along wishes for Happy Hanukkah. It's begun to. It's a great celebration that's ongoing for folks in our neighborhood. This past Saturday also, we had an event at the library. It was blank at the library, an auction as well that was ongoing. I thank Mr. Wilson, the mayor, And those that attended, and Mr. Little, for that was a pretty successful fundraising event for the Friends of the Library. Well, so moving forward with that. And that, thank you.
Mrs. Gators.
Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas to everyone out there. The Senior Center will no longer be holding bingos on Saturday, so anyone that's been used to being going there on the first Saturdays of the month, I'm sorry, but they will no longer be doing those, just for your information. And just one other little thing that I found out from my daughter, actually, is donations can be made directly to the Monroeville Animal Shelter if you want to order right from Amazon. The shelter does provide a list, which says things that they're looking for, and you can order right from Amazon and have them shipped directly to the shelter. You still get your deduction if you want. But my daughter does that, and I didn't even realize and that's such a great way to do it.
Chewy's also a good source.
Oh, I love Chewy.
Yeah.
And they can also deliver there as well.
Right.
But this way, you don't even have to leave the confines of your own home to make a donation
Right.
that actually helps out.
Right, pick it up.
So I
Yeah.
just wanted to
That's
let the
wonderful,
public
Thrower, thank you.
be aware of that. So, and with that, that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you, Mrs. Gatos. Yes, we had a couple different light-up events the past few weeks. We had our holiday tree lighting night, light-up night. It was right before Thanksgiving with the Monroeville Historical Society and the Monroeville Chorus. It was a nice event at the Old Stone Church. We appreciate everybody for coming out, and for the Historical Society and the Chorus for coming out and spreading the cheer for the season. We also had our menorah lighting for Hanukkah at the Miracle Mile Shopping Center. We appreciate the Miracle Mile for allowing that to happen on their property. We want to thank Rabbi Mendy of the Abad Jewish Center of Monroeville for organizing everything. Number 4 Fire Hall was there throwing candy from the ladder truck. Chief Cole was there. For as crummy as the weather was that evening, there was a really nice turnout for that event. And we just want to thank everybody who came out to celebrate, and a happy Hanukkah to those who celebrate it. Today we had the Monroeville Area Chamber of Commerce annual luncheon and their Rocks Awards. So big thanks to the Chamber of Commerce for all that they do, and the business community for our town. And this was an item that was in the paper recently. The American Legion Post 820 on Old William Penn Highway, they have recently gone to be a no-smoking facility, a non-smoking facility. However, smoking was permitted for the past 55 years, from 1963 to 2018, and they certainly are making this change for the health and well-being of the members of the Legion and the veterans of the Legion, and currently they are trying to fund the cleanup of that facility. We have 55 years of smoke and tar in that facility, and they're trying to ask residents and entities to help support this cause. Once again, a lot of our veterans, they certainly have health issues from their service. They have health issues from their age, and smoking in a facility 55 years, it's a very toxic environment, so they're hoping to do a cleanup. You can make any donations to the American Legion Post 820 on Old William Penn directly. You can also go online. There is a GoFundMe page, GoFundMe.com, and if you search for Post 820 or Gold Star Post 820, I've tried it actually a few different ways. It'll show up if you just search for it, and you can make donations through that page. But they're asking that you open up your wallets to help them out and help clean their facility. So we hope to support their endeavor. Condolences to the Rizzo family, and we also had a resident that we lost, an active member of the community, Dolly Gardner. Actually speaking of the police department, her husband, who is also deceased, was a former officer as well, but Dolly was a very active member to the Monroeville Senior Citizen Center for many years, a volunteer for many, many, many hours, a member of senior council, and a very active resident for our community. And we lost her a few weeks ago, and she will certainly be missed. So with that, I will seek a motion to adjourn.
Motion, second.
Thank you and good night.
Tom did them both?
Yes, Tom did it both.
If I could get you to start.